How does the electrical voltage affect the movement of objects? And in the beginning we must know that the electrical effort is the work done to transfer its electrical charge between the two ends of the conductor. But what represents the voltage at the level of large sizes? And in fact the voltage is the one that moves any body, because every body, no matter how small or large, it has its own electric charge, and therefore we must study the electrical voltage at the classical level of Newtonian mechanics. And this is what we will talk about in this article. The higher the weight of the moving object, the greater the voltage required to move this body, but we notice in the great space that the weights of the bodies are equal to zero. Meaning that if we recompensate it in this physical equation with a weight value equal to zero, this means that the electrical voltage of a moving object in space is equal to the distance traveled by this object. This means that the electrical voltage in space represents the traveled distance, and this distance is the gravitational acceleration in the big space. But we notice that in the big space that everything in it is constantly expanding and in a continuous movement, and this means that the electrical voltage of all space is constantly increasing, and this means that the distances are constantly increasing, and the equation speaks of something else. M is there was a mass there before God created the distance, and the answer is yes, and this equation explains this matter. When we present the concept of distance from the electrical voltage, we find that what remains in the equation is the concept of mass and weight. So the distance is the distance, means there is no distance in space, and then we find the mass. This increases before the distance exists, and we notice that the equation speaks of a new view, which is that when the electrical voltage enters a place or place, the place is generated from this spot to get out, and the force also comes out of this spot. And this is what happens in the electrical wire. When an electrical voltage is generated, then the wire, the electrode, absorbs the place and the force, so the gravitational force is generated. And you notice that the force in this case is generated in the opposite direction to the direction of motion of the electrons. It has a weight, and this is present renewed in relation to the electric energy generated by gravity. It is possible that if we throw a block, it will travel a distance and have a weight. This is permanently and continuously. As an electrician in a place, the place from which the voltage is transferred is generated a place and a force. And this place and the power are transferred to the place from which you move the electrical voltage and generate the electrical voltage from it. I hope that the equation that I created has won your admiration.